Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Catalyst webinar series presented by the Education Committee for the Southern California PGA. The Catalyst webinar series is a bi-weekly educational platform for creating success and change in your club and career. Very excited to have Eric Keister, PGA, on the webcast this morning. Eric is the National Sales Manager for Pace Technology, which is a division of the Textron Corporation, which also owns EasyGo, Cushman, Jacobson, large golf equipment manufacturing company. Eric, we're glad to have you on the webcast this morning. Thanks for joining us today. How are you?
I'm fantastic, John. Thanks for having me.
Indeed. It's all yours. Take it away. We can stockpile some questions as they come in. Eric's got a presentation that he's going to go through over the next 45 minutes, and then we'll open it up to Q&A. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Go for it, Eric.
Sounds great. Thanks again, John. And for everybody listening, again, as John mentioned, if you have questions, because they seem to come up as I go along through these things, sometimes by all means, shoot those questions over to John and we will cover those at the end of the presentation. What I really wanted to focus on today is kind of an overview of what Pace Technology does specifically, but also what you can do now with technology for your property and for your fleet. And it does extend even out beyond just golf, which is what so many of us are used to. First thing I want you to notice is that this is a web-based system. What that means is that any web-enabled device that you're on, whether that be your phone, a tablet, a computer, you can be in the golf shop, in your office, or on your couch at home, and you can manage and operate and monitor what's going on at your property. All of it is live, and there's no reason to have anything downloaded specifically to any piece of hardware that you have. Again, you can look at it at any time, any place in real time, which is a great benefit because we're all being asked to do so much more with less, if you will, and the ability to do this anywhere, anytime is very beneficial. GPS, as we've all kind of known it to be, has been in our industry for a long time. I can remember the first system I had on a fleet of golf cars was back in 1998 in Ohio, and had big, heavy, clunky tops on the cars, and the cost of the system was almost as much as a golf car was. So it's come a long way, obviously, with technology. Everything is touch screen now, lighter, running off of cell networks, things of that nature. You got a much better graphics, things of that nature, and a lot of features now that maybe you didn't have in the past. But this is not something that is, again, is new to golf, but as technology has gotten better, the pricing has come down a bit. It is becoming more readily available and more widely accepted into the industry as we use it now. But a lot of great features out there, including some of the fun stuff now that people are getting excited about, which would be Bluetooth speakers, being able to order food and beverage on the fly. We're living in a Grubhub world now, everybody, and it's nice to be able to offer some of those things to your golfers while they're out there. When it comes to the systems itself, there's also options. It used to be historically you just had a 10-inch screen option, and that was really the only thing you could do. Now you have both a 10-inch and a 7-inch. The 7-inch actually comes in two different options as well. So you've got a full graphics bundle that does everything that a system can do, if you will. It will do things like integration with Golf Genius or Viper if you do like to do live scoring events. Again, food and beverage, music, all of those things. Any of our EX systems will do that, whereas the 7-inch base offers a product that's a little bit more price conscious if you're not going to use the entire suite of products. Top left part of the slide, you also notice there is a screenless version that we call the Shield. And the Shield will do a lot of the management, the fleet and property management, the geofencing, things of that nature, telling you what your rotations are like and things that are going to help you maintain your fleet better. But it obviously doesn't have the golfer component with the yardages, etc. So a lot of different options now that'll fit your budgets. When it comes to the display screens, there's There's also some fun stuff that you can do now. You've got different themes, which you can see on the top left there. You've got 5 different themes that we offer, a wood grain, a red, white, and gray. There's carbon fiber, there's classic blue, and there's also a folds of honor, which I know is obviously big in the golf industry. We put the triangular folded flag in the bottom right corner in that case as well. You can see visible geofences nowadays, et cetera. This is just showing you what some of the screens would look like. Here are some options. Again, graphically, we run across certain golf courses that say, hey, I mow in this kind of a pattern. And now, again, our graphic artists are able to do this in whichever mowing pattern, if you will, that we see. We put this in at Westchester, actually, in New York, and we were asked if we could do a different mowing pattern. So we decided we'd offer additional options as well. So again, just some fun stuff that we're able to do to really make the screen pop and look as much like your property as we can. So much of what people use this for is to manage that fleet. We all have a big job. I know most golf car fleets in the US that I deal with average about 72 cars in their fleets. I know out there in Southern California, I know a number of fleets that are in excess of 80 cars for an 18-hole property. That can be a daunting task when it comes to how do I manage those cars and that usage, if you will. This technology is really neat, especially when you start coupling it with some of the newer golf car technology that's out there as well, which is lithium-based golf cars. Lithium-based golf cars are very much like a cell phone from the standpoint that the internal mechanism of the golf car knows the exact state of charge of that golf car, unlike the older lead acid cars that was a little bit of a guessing game when it comes to how much juice is really left in that battery. These systems, like the Pace technology system, will actually read that controller data and tell you exactly how much battery is left in that golf car. And in the bottom right corner of the screen, you can see we also track amp hours. Amp hours in an electric golf car, which I know is pretty much what you guys use out there on all of your fleets, is something that equates to the amount of work that a system has done. So if it was a gas-powered vehicle, it would have an hour meter, let's say, to tell us how much work it has done. If it's an electric vehicle, it's going to we call that amp hours. And in the bottom right corner, you see that we're able to tell you what the lifetime amp hours are on an electric piece of equipment. We automatically put in the most used 15% of your fleet and the least used 15% of your fleet as just an easy way for your outside operations technicians and stuff to say, hey, let's use these golf cars a little less and let's use these golf cars a little more. And you can always kind of keep that overall usage fairly level and even. Diving into those reports that I'm kind of touching on a little bit, one of the biggest things that, of course, we as golf professionals use this for is to manage the pace on the golf course. There's a lot of things you can do live when it comes to pace and seeing it on the screen and indicating who's slow and what have you. But there's also a lot of reporting mechanisms that you can dig into that can help us actually really fine tune our operation. Whether it be on the right, you can see where you can set pace targets per hole and then compare those to actual pace during a window of time. So the one that you see there on the right is a golf course in Jacksonville, Florida. Its average pace was 3 hours and 39 minutes with a total number of rounds of over 2,600 rounds. During that window, you can see where maybe some adjustments could be made to benefit the pace reporting and maybe be able to drive even a faster pace if at all possible. Because again, the faster people play, A, the more people we can get out on the golf course, and B, the happier they usually are when they finish if they play. On the left-hand side of the screen, you see pace per round. So again, we can dig in, you can see and identify, maybe who's playing slow, if you will, because you do have the ability to add names to golf cars. Those names hold on the golf car. So again, a lot of fun, neat things you can do with the reports to help you manage your property. Going on with the reports, we have some additional ones for food and beverage. On the left-hand side, you can see, again, this is one of the ways that you're going to get a return on your investment here. So it's not just something that the golfer gets and an amenity that the golfer gets. There's a lot of ways to get your ROI on this, and food and beverage is just one of those. Pace improvements is obviously another one of those. Golf course damage, when you talk about geofences, which I'll get to here in just a little bit, is again, yet another one of those places where you can get a return on your investment. In the reporting, you can see the food and beverage sales on the left. On the right, you can see we can dig in and actually show you exactly how much power is used on every single hole. Again, this is just some great data going forward. We're actually going to be able to predict whether or not a golf car that's maybe on hole 1 or hole 2 is going to have any issues for you before it's round. So again, you can be proactive and take care of problems before they happen. Again, leading to more customer satisfaction and making you a more efficient operation. On-course communications is important. Historically, what we've all done is we've put somebody on a vehicle and we've told them to start on 18 and drive backwards and drive around a golf course and communicate in a player assistant kind of a format, whether that's rangering, talking to people about pace, or what have you. In this situation, there's so many different things you can now do with a screen model specifically to be able to engage and interact with your golfers while they're out there. That could be giving them directional messages and taking signage down off your golf course. It could be selling advertising externally if you wanted to. It can be internally advertising your upcoming member guests, things like that. The image in the middle, I think, is one of the ones that people really got to grab a hold of and understand that whether you're a public golf course selling outside advertisement, or you're a resort that's wanting to promote the spa, or you're a private club that says, hey, I want to get people to sign up for my member guest. If you put imagery up on your golf course that has QR codes on it that drive people to specific websites, it becomes a very effective way to take this tool and turn it into something that actually helps either you or helps your advertisers and gets a lot of benefit out of it. All of these are location-based, so you can put them up wherever you want. You can put up as many or as few as you want. We don't do any advertising. We don't put anything on your screens, but we will assist you in making this as in-depth as you want it to be. Those types of fences can be set up with simple text. They can obviously be imagery, and you can even put video up if you want to. Geofencing is probably the number one thing that people will buy the system for, because it is able to control where vehicles go and don't go. One of the neatest features about the systems nowadays is that you can see the geofence right on the screen. It's a little difficult sometimes as a golfer as you drive around to maybe go someplace and then realize, wow, I'm not supposed to be there because your golf cart got locked or started beeping at you or did something. It's also tough for you all as operators and your staff to try to inform golfers where they can and can't go on a golf cart. They're driving around a real big property. They're going to be out there for 4 or 5 hours, and you've got a number of areas in which they shouldn't drive. And usually, again, historically, we've always listed out, hey, don't go here, this hole is cart path only, those types of things. And we all know that as golfers, they're not going to be able to remember all of that. So now what's nice is you can simply tell your golfers, there are restricted areas out there. They're going to show up on your screen with little yellow dots around them. Just don't drive your cart there. Again, this makes things a whole lot easier for your staff, makes things easier for the golfer. They know where to go and where not to go. And it offers you that control to keep people out of those sensitive areas and to protect your property and also your fleet, of course. One of the types of fences that we do is a speed enforcement fence. Again, it's just a way to tell people this is a reduced speed area. It may be a parking lot where you just want people to drive slower. It may be a severe hill where you want people to drive slower. You can disable cars in those areas. Our golf carts are designed to, when they are disabled, they will come to a stop and lock in the position that they're in, etc. So just one of the types of fences that we can build. When it comes to the fences, there are 5 types. There is a keep in, there is a keep out, there is a cart path only fence, there is a message style fence, and then there is that speed enforcement fence. So within those 5 different types of fences, there's not a lot we can't do. We can set those fences up to where they only affect certain types of golf cars. And again, you get the ability to set up those different profiles. We can schedule those fences to where they're only on certain days or on certain times, things of that nature. Food and beverage services, we talked about it just a little bit. It is a great way to get a return on your investment here. Again, it's a nice thing that you can do when you can promote what you can offer to somebody. And as you can see on the screen on the bottom left there, that's an example of what the prompt might look like for a golfer. And if they select yes, it goes to a menu. If they select no, it just goes right back to the golf for them. And it is a way, again, for this to be done in a way that not only reminds them, hey, we do offer food and beverage for you, but also helps with pace of play. Again, going to obviously help you drive additional revenue into the food and beverage part of your operation. Those menus are super easy to jump into. And I talked about it being a web-based system. What's neat about that is you can have different levels of access that you provide to the website itself. So most properties will have a access that does everything that our system will do. They'll also get one that does absolutely nothing but gives people visibility, which you could give to pretty much anybody at your property if you felt like they needed to know where golf cars are and things of that nature. And then we can build upon that. We could give one that just does food and beverage, so you can give that to your food and beverage team, et cetera, so that they can get in and they can monitor orders, or they can change the menus, they can update things if they want. But again, there's a lot here that's available. The ability to put modifiers on different types of food, i.e., how do I want my hamburger cooked, or what kind of bread do I want my sandwich on, things of that nature. You can put that in there. We can force member numbers. So if you want the printout that comes into your food and beverage facility to have an actual member number on it so that you can punch it into the POS system right then and there. There's a lot of stuff that we can do with this system, and it is absolutely driving a significant amount of revenue back into the property. Tournament management. This is one of the reasons that, again, historically, GPS found its niche in resorts and high-end public golf courses. This integration right here is one of the reasons that our fastest growing demographic, when you want to think of it that way, in the golf industry, is private clubs. Private clubs are taking on this type of technology faster than any other group now. And this is one of the reasons, because so much of what we're doing as golf pros and setting up of events, we're doing it with these fleet management, or excuse me, these scoring systems and operations. Golf Genius is the largest one that's out there. We also integrate with a company called Viper as well. But if you have their software, and that's how you're running your golf events, what's nice is you can take that event and push it directly to our screens. So as you can see on the top right corner, that's an example of a scorecard. It will dot the card for you. It will put their names in there. It will keep running gross and net scores right on the screen. And then, of course, it does show live leaderboards if you want to offer that as an option during the event as well. What's really nice about this is instead of standing out in front of a group of 150 players almost and telling them to get their phones out and to go to their app store and to download an app and to plug in a number, they don't have to do any of that now. It's just all ready for them on the golf cars, and they just get in and have a good time. This is what Viper looks like a little bit, an example of what a cart sign, if you will, could look like on the screen once you push that information off to the golf cart itself. Names of players, starting times, the event, a picture for it, etc. So we've talked about this just a little bit. The mobile managing from any device is, again, one of the larger reasons that people are doing this. Multiple people within an operation want to know what's going on, whether that's the superintendent is looking to see where golf cars are to know where to send his staff, or if it's the golf pro looking to see if there are any gaps out there where he or she may be able to fill in some players that have shown up and there's no tee times available, things of that nature. There's some really, really fun stuff coming on this too that I can't necessarily share right at the moment just because it's in the process, but we will be sharing it at the PGA show in Orlando this year. It's some really, really fun things to just help solidify all the information you're getting here. On the right, you'll see on the screen, you can see again some of those indicators, the little yellow clocks, for instance, that are on the golf cars. That's telling you golf cars that are slightly behind. They're 10 minutes or less, maybe behind. If you hover over those, it tells you exactly they are 6 minutes behind or 12 minutes behind or whatever. The red clocks are telling you that they're greater than 10 minutes behind. The portion on the left-hand side in white of that horizontal iPad, that's just giving you an idea. It's telling you what golf holes are slower versus what golf holes are faster. Again, if you need to physically go out there, you can. But what most people will do with this is they will literally click on the message button. They'll send the cars that are actually holding people up a message that tells them, hey, you're holding up the golf course. We need you to pick up the pace a bit so that things will get better for everybody. And then they can turn around and send a message out to everybody else and say, we understand that it's a little slow. We've identified that group and asked them to speed up. Please just keep up with the group in front of you as pace gets better. And within a matter of a couple of minutes, you've touched every single golfer on the golf course, and you've told them what they need to know in order to hopefully have a little bit better time out while they're out there. This is one of the nicest things about this product. And I got into this side of of our business just almost 5 years ago. So I've been with E-Z-GO for over 20 years now, but got into this about 5 years ago. And what's nice about this is that when you buy this type of software, what you're getting continues to get better over and over. Okay, so the entire time you have it, it continues to get better. Whereas most things that you buy in year 2, it's not as good as it was in year 1. That's not the case here. So what you'll see is quarterly updates where we will offer more features than what you've had before. And some of the ones that are shown here, you've got tee shot distances that we show. Again, the visible geofences, we've now tacked onto that a little bar that comes across the top that tells people this hole is cart path only today. Again, it's just a nice general reminder. If the little yellow dots don't do it for them, at least that will help tell them that. Or if you don't want the little yellow dots, that will still pop up for you as well. Being able to do special pins that's maybe separate from your pin rotation is nice. Now we've got 3 different options really when it comes to showing yardages. Golf car state of charge, being exact, is another nice feature. Here's one that's very beneficial, of course, is weather warnings and alerts. This is something, again, within a matter of a few clicks, I can send a message to every single golf car that severe weather's in the area. They ought to seek shelter. It also pauses the pace. So if you're going to pull them off the golf course, you actually kind of hit pause for your entire property, and the system just stops calculating that pace for them, puts them into a mode where they can get back in the safest way possible too. So they don't have to drive all out and around some of the geofences. It puts them in a mode, I should say, that gets them back where they need to go as quickly as possible. And you can turn that off once they're back. The other thing too is this is also integrated into 2 of the largest weather reporting folks that are in our industry. Thorgard and Perryweather hold awful lot of that business, if you will. And if you have Thorgard and Perryweather, you can integrate this system with that system at no additional charge, just like we do with Golf Genius and Viper on the scoring side. So what's neat about that is you got technology doing 2 different things, but yet you can get them to come together and work together, and it doesn't cost you anymore. Some of the other new features that have come out when we came out with our newest hardware at early 2020 was the Bluetooth and the ability to play the FM radio. So again, music is one of those things that in our industry can sometimes be polarizing. There are some people that love it and some people that hate it. And we offer the ability to do it if your facility is one of those ones that likes to offer it. But you can sync it with your phone and play your own playlist, or you can jump on the FM radio and listen to the radio now. Cart path only modifiers from a pace perspective. Again, we wanted to give you as robust of a pace system as we can. We all know that while each golf hole has its own dedicated target pace, if you will, once you implement cart path only on that hole, that pace target needs to go up. So what we've given you is on the bottom right, you can see where whenever you turn on a hole, you can have a pace modifier that now automatically changes the target pace for that hole based on whether or not cart path only is on or off. Early in the presentation, I talked about this is more than just your fleet. It is your entire property. And I talked about we have different models. You have screens and you have screenless version. So the Shield itself is a screenless version. And now what you're looking at is the ability to put this thing on pretty much any other piece of equipment that may be on your golf course. Maybe it's your beverage car for your food and beverage person to know where they are. It's your utility vehicles running around the club. Maybe it's your superintendent's mowers or utilities or trap brakes or anything else that they may want to be able to monitor where they are on the property and know what's happening at any given time. All of these can exist on the same site and be visible either A, all at the same time, or B, you can click off the turf equipment and only look at the golf cars, or vice versa. You can look at just the golf cars and remove all the turf equipment. So again, different types of views based on who the operator is and what they're trying to accomplish. This is going to provide you the real-time tracking and travel history of these vehicles. Geofencing, again, can still work for these vehicles for safety purposes and things of that nature. You as a manager, while you may not try to disable or stop a fairway unit that's driving through the staging area, you can at least, as a superintendent, get an alert that your operator is taking the fairway unit through the staging area, so that you can now rectify that as a problem. So again, it's a way to understand what's going on out there and just become more productive. We have the ability to use what we call geofences on the golf side. We will call activity zones on the other side, which is the turf management side. And as you can see on the picture on the bottom right, that is a mower, obviously mowing a fairway. And what's nice about that is you can make these activity zones to where we can start to create some work profile history, understand how long does it take people to work and cover an area. It will help you as a manager understand, again, if you're the entire property manager or the general manager, you can understand how productive and effective my workers are being, things of that nature. And again, all of these vehicles are able to be labeled so that you can at a glance know, am I looking at a golf car or am I looking at a piece of mowing equipment? We're able to put them in different sections so that you can hide those and what have you as well. Those activity zones, again, shown here on the top right corner, you can see hole 16's got a purple, what looks to be a geofence drawn around it. That's actually an activity zone. So you can now track certain types of pieces of equipment within that zone. You can give targeted times at which it should take them to finish work within that particular zone. So again, you could set these up around your bunkers and track the work of your trap brakes in those. You could set it up around the fairways like that is and track those fairway units and how long it takes them to mow. You can set it up around the greens and track the greens mowers, whether they be on a triplex that you've got the system on, or they're on a walking mower. You might have your utility vehicle drive up into that zone and they take the mower off, and you're still going to be able to track the work that's being done in those zones based on certain time requirements. And what's neat is that drives out into usable data to help us understand, how am I doing when it comes to being efficient? What's my task completion look like? Am I on target? Am I above target? Am I way above target? And then it breaks it down into different groups, whether that's your fairway units or your sprayers or your greens mowers or your utility vehicles. What does that look like? Am I spending a lot of time actually moving? Am I spending a lot of time idle? You can break it out again into either work or travel as well. So a lot of data here. Again, the idea behind this is that it talks about this from a standpoint of total fleet and operation management, if you will. I have gone through this pretty quickly, so we've been on here for about 30 minutes. I wanted to leave some time open for some questions. So, John, do you have any questions for me?
Yes, sir. Thank you much, Eric. We do have a couple of questions from Jim Smith. How do the walkers fit?
Well, so James, thank you for the question. A little earlier, I talked about stuff that we're going to talk about at the PGA show in Orlando. That's definitely one of them. One of the limiting factors of putting a GPS system on your golf cars historically, again, has been for those properties that do a large number of walkers. And what we're going to be able to offer you in the future, if you have this on your fleet of golf cars, you will have an opportunity to offer something to the walkers that will now have them show up on the screen as well. But again, I can't get too deep into the weeds because that's a little bit of the look behind the green curtain that we're holding for the PGA show to talk about then and launch officially then.
Thanks, Eric. Thank you, Jim. Also, can you talk a little bit about the walking caddy that you guys offer? Does it have a manual override, or I know the club car version does not, and you have to really, the walker has to get to trusting it. It takes some getting used to. Can you talk a little bit about the technology that's rolled up in the EasyGo version?
So I believe what you're talking about, that club car, and I'm struggling on the name of it. That's actually something that we don't offer currently. Is the one that kind of follows you around.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't offer one of those. I know that they do, and I think you are right. It does take a little bit of fine tuning and a little bit of trusting, and maybe making some wide circles around some some bunkers and things like that, so your golf bag doesn't end up in the bunker. But I don't have a lot of knowledge on that because it's not one of those things that we offer in our portfolio.
And Eric, I know you're keeping some stuff behind the curtain for the PGA show, but what kind of preview can you give us of what's coming?
So again, with our system, it's one of those things where what we were trying to do is offer a way for customers to see where walkers are, to know and understand if they do or don't actually have gaps on their golf course, and do it in a way that doesn't really drive or cost you guys any more money. So that's the driving force behind it. It's opened up some other really neat features because what we're doing is we're partnering with another company, and it's going to provide a lot of opportunities. It's going to provide opportunities, quite frankly, for people who currently don't do business with EasyGo, because we're going to be able to offer some property management solutions there as well. So again, it's pretty exciting for us and what we're able to do. I wish I could share more, but I don't want to spoil the fun at the PGA show for it.
Fantastic. Well, Eric, on behalf of the Southern California PGA and the Education Committee, thank you very much for carving out some time to present to the section this morning. For those members that are on this morning's webcast, you do get 1 MSR credit for attending Eric's presentation. And there will be a recording of this morning's webcast going out later this morning, and it will be uploaded to the section website. For those that are viewing this webcast after the fact, you will need to take the 10-question quiz in order to get the 1 MSR credit for attending. A score of 70% is required for that MSR credit. Once again, Mr. Keister, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day, and thanks for supporting the Catalyst webinar.
All right. Thanks, John.